to perform a given task. The cognitive characteristic, it's a matching also of psychological points of view, that is overconfidence, representativeness, and intuition, which is a very important aspect to take in consideration, that demonstrates the veracity of certain beliefs that encourage to make decisions under time pressure, uncertainty, and limited information. The last point to consider is the environmental factors. The environmental factors take into consideration the capital. The more available the capital is, the more opportunity of business can occur. The raw materials, there is a big variety according to the governmental policy, open or protectionists. The labor, another big variety according to the cost and availability of the labor force. And the technology, the innovative tools, for example, as the 3D prints that can make innovative business. Overall, the overall outlook that we part of the presentation as far as concern entrepreneurship. Once again, I apologize for the technical problems we experience, and I give the floor to my colleague Carlotta Ensalaco, who is going to present you the idea. Thank you very much.
So, as I was explaining you, we have to ask ourselves basically these questions that I'm showing you. So, which need does the product or service satisfy for your customer? Which means that we have to consider customers' needs, first of all, because they are the most important part that we have to consider. So, second question, what type of product or service will your business sell? Which means that you have to think about the product that you're going to sell. So which kind of product I'm going to sell and which service I'm going to offer to my customer. So third question, who will buy products or services? Which means that you have to think about the type of target group you want to reach with your product. So for example, in case of business based on 3D printing, main customers are usually other companies for sure. So our last question will be, how are you going to sell your products and services? It is important, of course, to focus on the channels that you have to use in order to sell your products and to send it. So there are other important questions. The ones that I explained you before were the general questions, but if we want to be more specific, we have to think about these other questions, which are, where can you get advice and information about business? Of course, it is important to understand your source for your business. So will this be the only business of this kind in your area? Which means, are there any similar types of business? So these two questions are linked together. And the other one is, does this business need equipment, premises, or qualified staff? Which means that before accepting my business, before building my business, I have to think about the qualified staff that I really need to produce it. And the last question is, where will you get the resources? Of course, the resources are the most important thing that you can have. Without resources, you cannot do anything. So basically, what we explained just a second before can be summed up in the SWOT method. What is the SWOT method? It's the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat methods. It is a methodology that considers, before creating your business, four most important things: strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats, which means strengths and weakness are all the positive and negative aspects of the future production. So you have to consider the future situation in which your production will find. And these have to be considered inside your business idea, because these are the most important basics that you have to consider. Then the opportunities and threats, of course, these are events that may occur during your future products, future production. So you have to consider, of course, these opportunities and threats as a part of the inside model. So you have to consider these as part of the model. There is a guide from Macintosh, which is called In Business Project, which is really useful, and you can consider it when you build your business. First of all, this guide points the attention on some questions, of course. So what you want to sell, where you will sell it, which means the place, the market that you will choose to sell it. What are the features and the benefits of your business? Of course, you have to think about what is positive and what is negative when you sell something. So what are the benefits that the user can have and what are the negative aspects that the user can consider before taking it? So it is important, therefore, to consider most of all three most important things. So the market, the money, the productivities, and the sales and marketing consideration. So what is the market? Is the most important field that you have to consider when you sell a product, which means that you have to understand the field you are playing with. So first of all, to understand the market, you have to consider the competition, which means who else is selling the same thing. So what I can do to make my product very competitive. What are the characteristics of this product that I have to consider to make it better than the other one that is already in the market? Then you have to consider the pricing, which means how much should you charge for your customer, which means, okay, so I have to decide the price of my product, and this price have to be, of course, competitive. Then the research, which means what information do you already have about your business idea? In order to create a business idea, it is important, of course, to understand what is already on the market and to have a basic idea of the product that I want to sell. So I have to do a research, very specific research about the characteristic of my product and about all the other characteristics of the product that are already on the market. So it is important, therefore, to understand your customer, as I said before. So it is important that my customer is a general customer or it is a company, it is young or old people, and what kind of customer I have. So it is important also to consider how much do you need to get started. As every business idea development, you have to consider the money that you need. And especially you have to consider, of course, what is important and what is not. And most important thing of all is what tools you will need. You can use especially two models that can help you. First one is Lean Canvas model, which means to clarify, it is a model that is used to clarify the steps that you are taking during the development of your business idea. This model considers especially a lot of things which are problems and then of course solutions, then the type of customer that I have, then the key metrics, which means the testing of the product that I have to do, then the advantages that I will take from my product, then the unique values, which means the position that my product will have, the preference of the companies and the preference of the customers, and then through which channels I have to share my product. And of course, last, the cost that I will need. The second tool that you can use is, of course, the business angel, which means the investor that will help you to promote and to create your business idea, and also to economically sustain your business idea and your product, your business product. There are different kinds of business angels. They can be family investors, which means that your parent or your relatives have already a business and would like to support your idea. Then relationship investors, which means co-workers that you can contact in order to promote your idea. And then, of course, the idea investor. And then the once removed investor, which is the investor that you trust the most. And in the end, the archangel investor, which is a very rich investor that can offer you all the resources that you need. As I was explaining before, so it is important to consider money, but money are not important only for these two models that you have to consider. Money are important also for productivity. So what is productivity? It is the amount of money that you need for 1 day of production, which means that I have to consider how much money I need to produce my business, to produce my final idea, which is the product. Then another thing that you have to consider is the sales and marketing area, which means how to tell other people about your business. So how can I reach my customer? How can I inform them that my product is being sold? So it is important, in fact, to be able not to reach only people you know, but also other people. So many people, as much people as you can consider. So our final questions will be, how will you communicate with your customers about your product or service? So through which channels? How much will it cost to do the job? So how I have to consider the money, the cost of my job, the entire cost of my job, which means the production, the realization, and then of course the selling of the product and the information. And how much will you charge, which is a bit the summary of what I said before. And that's it. Thank you for your attention. So I give now the floor to my colleague Fulvio. Thank you very much.
All right, so we are at the last part of this webinar, in which we finally will start to talk about the relationship with entrepreneurship and 3D printing. Well, I want to start with this simple but very important slide, in which we say that everyone can be an entrepreneur. Okay, well, why to be an entrepreneur using a 3D technology can be a good idea? We have to say that new technology introduced into the market is characterized by low competition and guarantees a large room of maneuver. And there are some enterprises established in order to make profit from 3D printers technology. Many of them already exist and are successful. Some of them are big and some of them are small firms, or some of them are outsourcing company with developed industrial activity, and some of them are target for the commerce. But which is the common feature that brings together most of 3D printing entrepreneurship? One of the most important common thing is the customization. The customization of these the products on a wide range, which is really their original characteristic, is today worlds full of products coming from mass production. Customization brings interest on both big companies as customers. In case of companies, the customization can occur as on printers, and the customization of the products they order to have it produced by other outsourcing company. In case of customization of product that can be ordered to print to the other outsourcing enterprise, it allows to extend the activity without increased cost. In case of customization for individuals, the customization of products gives the possibility to adjust the offer perfectly to personal customers' needs, which makes the product seem close to the person who buys it and eventually result in augment interest, so also augment the sales rate. So it means that individual customers, individual people can have a customization of the product that they want, and can make something close to the very close and similar to the need the people needs. Another important aspect, a common aspect of the 3D, the business made with 3D printing after the customization, is the wasting of the resource. Well, I want to show you important graphics. This one. So, the production using 3D printing methods reduces significantly the amount of waste remained. Although the 3D printing is relatively slow, So ineffective and too expensive for mass production, it seems perfect for short production and prototypes. In this case, the cost efficiency is a prevalent advantage for several reasons. One of them is that there are no extra materials that are needed, like a form of case of molding. And another is that using the same equipment, for example, 3D printers, various shapes and size, you can print using the same equipment. These decreases of cost are perfect for making prototypes and single elements. So, look, this is the number of units, and this is the cost per units. So you can see that as much units you produce with additive manufacturing, so the 3D printing process, the cost will be always the same. And this is perfect when you don't have to make a lot of units. For example, when you have to make a prototype. So for example, when you have to launch a new product. So the sector with the high potential of 3D printer usage are automotive, aerospace, dental, discrete, high-tech, and medical products. And prototyping is the principal application of 3D printers in these companies. Together with product development and innovation, like the creation of new items that are possible to create by traditional methods. These are three leading reasons for purchasing 3D printers by company. So I want to show you another graphics here that show that more than the half of products, under the half of use by company of 3D printing is among the prototyping, products development and innovation. So all the this is more than the half of all the company, the aim of all the company made by that are using the 3D printing. So now I'm going to show you some examples of 3D printing, and then if you have some question, you can also ask to each part that you added, that you listened during this webinar. So many of these company, for example, this electro-optical system, are linked with the production of products and service that they can give according their request, the specific request that they have. So, for example, I want to show you this that I think is very important, the Think3D. Think3D is an Indian company that works exclusively with the 3D printing technology. The offer of the company can be primarily divided into sales and service. So, as a sale, you can buy, thanks to them, 3D printers, scanners, filaments, etc. But as a service, you can obtain rapid prototyping, medical 3D printing, scale models. So they do both the work. They sell the products linked like the 3D printing, so the product linked with the 3D printing, but they also do some service of prototyping. So this is Prodways, is another one established in 1999 and based in France. Printers are used by this company as three types of models. They work as in the prototyping as the customer's request, and they can do it with the plastic laser sintering 3D printers. Plastic DLPs, moving lights, 3D printers. Of course, our colleagues in the next webinars will talk about this different kind of 3D printing. And then there is also the ceramic 3D printings. This is a company, 3D Ceram, that work with these last materials I talked with you, and they are very expert especially in the biomedicine. So they make implants or cranials or stuff for like bones. So it's implants. So they are very specialist in this aspect. Okay, what I show you now are business company very linked to the high level of service with 3D printing. But you can see there are also some companies that make also products for the, I could say, for the simple people, just for the normal customers. For example, Fitz. Fitz is a company that produces shoes. And this is a very nice idea because thanks to application for your smartphone, you can make a picture to your foot. So you can send to the company the exact size of the food thanks to these food scans made by and sent by this application that is available for smartphone, and the company will produce the shoes according the size of your foot. So in this way, you can see there is not a mass production. There is only the production of one shoe, that is the shoe that you want. So this is good also to see how with the 3D printing we can really reducing the wasting of resource. 3D printing can be used also in the social business. I mean, in the voluntary activities in the social side. For example, Enable is a very important community of volunteers made by Ivan Owen. It is this co-creator of upper limbs prostheses for children produced by 3D printing. He did not patented his ready-to-print files, but gave an open-source access to them, enabling to everyone in need to download the model and print. Volunteers can make change in the model and innovate it. Others share their 3D printers. There was created a map of volunteers all over the world so that everyone can find the closest volunteer. Moreover, prostheses can be realized according to them desired by children. So, for example, they can have prostheses like superheroes, Disney characters, or Star Wars characters, etc., etc. Well, there are also we put some interesting, curious stuff like Food Inc. The Ink. It is a 3D restaurant. It works like a catering, so you can ask. They produce food using 3D printing. You can call them. They can make the catering for your party. For example, there is this application for the smartphone in which you can create your doll. The name is MyMaki, and then MyMaki, yes. And then when you a 3D printing that will make the doll as you wish, as you want. Well. One last company which I want to talk with you is this Shapeways. It's very interesting because it's virtual market where you can buy, sell, and design a 3D object. Customer can bring their 3D printable idea and have it printed by Shapeways printers. The company has also a lot of their own ideas to be printed, sold and sent to customers on demand. There is no limit in ideas to be realized. On the website, there is a blog in which the activity of Shapeways is being described. There is an online platform, and the Shapeways can be reached from all over the world. So it's a comfortable solution for designers and innovative production creators because they can have prototypes of their objects very easily and relatively cheaply. So. Thank you for your attention. We apologize again for some technical problem that we have at the beginning. I can see that in the chat there is not any question. So I remember you again that at 12 o'clock there is another webinars about new sectors that will be led by Kit, our German partner and coordinator of these projects, and our partner from Slovenia, STP. So thank you again for the participation, and if you want to see the complete training units of the entrepreneurship and 3D printings, you will find everything in the platform that we are launching in a few days. Thank you and see you at 12 o'clock. Bye bye.